we finally did Kaling. Granted, it was only easy Kaling, and we were so overgeared that we could one-burst everything up to phase 3, but we managed to defeat Kaling. We even had a game plan. It was a vague plan. We would split our party in such a way that we could one-shot both dog and bird, and then chill in tiger until we have our cooldowns back up. Then we one-shot phase 2, and then we just have to survive phase 3. As plans go, it was a half-decent one. Obviously there was more to the plan than that, but to get into that we first have to introduce our team. First, the only person who can reliably one-burst any one of the beasts was our Nightwalker. The next person in our lineup, who has probably the second most reliable burst, is our Pathfinder. Then there is our Buccaneer, our shot caller, because he is the only player with any prior experience, because this is only his mule, and as such, the weakest character here because of the lack of fragments. Next in our lineup is our Evan. He's probably almost equal to our Pathfinder when it comes to DPM. Our Paladin is the oldest person in the group, and while his mechanics might not be the best, he does have the highest combat power and would probably be the last person to quit. Last, but hopefully not least, there's me. I don't know what to say about myself other than I try. Now that we know all the players, what is the logic behind the lineup? We wanted our two biggest bursts to start in Bird, because it continuously saps our willpower, and if our willpower reaches 0, we fail the fight. That means our third and fourth biggest bursts should go on Dog, because we want to one-burst Dog just as we do Bird. It just isn't as much of a priority. This has not been the most optimal choice because of two reasons. One, our Nightwalker can already solo burst any one of the beasts, which means any help is appreciated but not needed. Two, Dog is the hardest fight mechanically. We should have put our mechanically best players in Dog. Thankfully, we were already so overgeared that the only change we had to make after that day was switch around our Evan and Pathfinder. While the beast gets obliterated, let me give you some more info on the Kaling fight. Instead of the typical individual lives, we have willpower. Willpower is global, which means everyone always has the same willpower. If someone loses willpower, everyone loses willpower. How do you lose willpower? There are two main ways. The first one is you die. The second is you mismanage your gauge, meaning that one of the three colors either reaches 1000 or 0. Which is where this guide comes in handy, because depending on what you get hit by, you change the gauge. Let's crop it so that we have an easier time seeing what does what in Tiger. No callouts to join Tiger were made, so we're pretty much waiting until we get kicked out of the room. That is some really fortuitous timing, considering that Tiger was stunned right as we joined the fight, so we can help do some more damage. I back off, not wanting to do too much damage to Tiger, but to be honest that's probably a mistake because we aren't doing a lot of damage right now. This is Tiger's FMA. It affects most of the floor he's standing on. So if he's bottom, most of bottom is affected. If he's top, most of top is affected. A quick look at the gauge reveals we have low purple but high blue. We take a look at the guide and we see if we catch yellow strings, purple goes up, blue goes down. Exactly what we need. Good catch. Now yellow is low, blue is high. We need to catch red and yellow strings. And like the idiot I am, I jump into Tiger's attack, which increases blue, decreases yellow, and makes it worse. Again, I have to catch any string. Thank you, that was way too much. What we learned is, don't catch all at once or we are out. At least we are on the correct side now. Yellow strings is purple up, blue down. And it's almost perfect. Yellow is like a tiny bit too high and purple is a tiny bit too low. Looking at the chart, maybe catch 1 or 2 yellows. No, not reds! Blue is a bit low, yellow is a bit high. Now is probably one of the only times when you want to get hit by a tiger or step into a puddle. Which also means I shouldn't have cleansed. What past me thought was another FMA was in reality the completion of a triangle of activated Tesla coils. To keep it simple, there is an active 50% damage penalty. You can get rid of that damage penalty if you activate 3 of the Tesla coils on 1/2 of the map. A Tesla coil is activated whenever Tiger attacks one of them. I don't know why we are so scared right now. We still do damage, even without the Tesla coil. All our cooldowns are up. Just get it over with. Okay, the gauge isn't perfect. We got hit a bit too much at the end there. But at least we're now in phase 2. Because we are so overgeared, phase 2 is simple. We wait a bit, we start attacking, we pop our Genesis iframe, we complete our burst, and we are done. Yellow is low, we have to pay attention in phase 3. If you manage to get into phase 3 with a high enough willpower, you can cheese the whole fight. Because if you gauge out one color, it costs you 350 willpower. A second color, another 350 willpower, which is in total 700. Which means we can gauge out on purple and blue and still have 300 willpower remaining and only have to worry about yellow. Yellow is only affected by bird and tiger. Bird makes it go up, tiger makes it go down. We had low yellow, a few people went into bird, and now we have high yellow, which means maybe one person should probably go into tiger. Good enough. A death costs 50 willpower, which means we should avoid them. That is made harder especially by Kaling herself, because she can stun you, she can throw you around, and does tons of damage while doing so. Thankfully, we were given an interact skill to bait her, which means someone can click it and Kaling will focus on that one person. Next up are these buttons. They explode either after a certain amount of time or shortly after you step on them. It also makes you a moving bomb, which you can see by the little hand symbol above me, which means I really shouldn't be in a group of people like that. Thankfully, no one died with me. Next up, I should also inform you about these teleport traps. They are rather obvious once you know what you're looking for. By now, someone might already have opened the wiki, looked at the HP values, and asked themselves how we are taking so long. That is the downside of the cheese strategy that we are using. Because if there are more than 2 players in one zone, everyone in that zone suffers a significant damage penalty. Another mechanic that should be noted is that if you are not in the same zone as Kaling, you will take 80% more damage and be unable to use any healing items. Familiars obviously still work. So for the sake of survival, it is better to stack all 6 people in the same zone than dying repeatedly and losing your 300 willpower. But, as it sometimes happens, Kaling slowly walks up to you, grabs you, throws you into the corner, and you gauge out. What? You thought we'd get it on the first run? No. Now we get the fail compilation. Which also means you get to skip all the waiting. Which was a lot. Let the fun begin. Let's get hit by dog and almost gauge out. Close, but not a fail yet. You remember me talking about what Tiger's FMA looks like? Yeah, like that. How long do you think we're going to be low on yellow? Seemingly very long. The surprise turnaround, now we have to worry about both blue and purple, but not yellow anymore. Fiddlesticks. To the next run! Oh, that's familiar. Getting hit by dog. Again! Spawn into Tiger. Get hit. Yellow is down, blue is up. Patch red strings to fix. Almost gauge out because of purple. Now we are closer with blue than purple. Try way too long to fix what should be really simple. Succeed. Go back to worrying about blue. Now yellow. Purple. Now it's pretty much fixed. And we're out again. Ah, yes, switching from roar to cont is definitely going to help, especially when you forgot that you're getting hit by dog, even though 2 people with above 170 million combat power burst. Is something going on there? I get it. The first time I burst, I did so much damage that my partner thought he didn't have to burst anymore, and I switched to Cont without telling him. To be honest, that one definitely goes on me. I should have better communicated what I have been doing. Yeah, that's another run down the drain. A quick talk with my partner, and now we're on the same page. We both have to burst in P1 so that we won't gauge out. There, easy as pie. We even got through phase 2 without any problems. Someone just had to make me a liar. Yeah, you know what's coming. This is not going to end well. You might ask yourself why so many people jumped left. That's because our shot caller called left to go left as soon as possible. What he didn't specify is that he meant phase 3. And now that I know more about the boss and I'm more comfortable, that is rather obvious. It wasn't back then. Okay, one last time. A simple Genesis iframe into burst. Into origin. And the dog is done. Waiting to get kicked out of the room. At this point, phase 2 doesn't have anything interesting either. As long as you play it safe, you get through it. See? Nothing to worry about.
No one's gonna stop me this time.
Phase 2 is done with a quick burst. Was it clean? No. But was it okay for a first session and a first clear? Yes, I do believe so.